All right, you all, we have some interesting data coming out from Redfin just talking about home prices. As we know, fall and winter months are coming, and usually during this time, home prices go down. But how much is it going to make a difference for most people looking to buy a house? Because yes, home prices go down, but yet we have high interest rates, we have low inventory levels, and people just have higher costs in other areas of their lives. And so hopefully we actually see a steep discount coming in the housing market that makes it feasible and makes it affordable for most people. Over the past year, we've been having year-over-year home price declines happening in the housing market, so that's good news, but we need to say way more of a home price crash. Crash sucks for a lot of people who bought their houses over the past 2 years. Yes, the value of your house is going to go down. Yes, unemployment is going to rise, but in order for us to reset the economy, a mini crash has to happen, or even a bigger crash. And I think the Fed is just trying to taper a collapse, but it's hard to control something that's super unstable. We'll see how good they do at trying to tame the beast of inflation, of higher prices. And that may be their downfall in trying to tame the beast, trying to slow down the crash. But are they making a mistake trying to tame home prices? And by doing that, are they actually going to keep home prices elevated, right? Trying to control a collapse? Are they going to also keep other areas of the economy prices high? My belief is that unfortunately there has to be a bigger crash, a bigger collapse than just the Fed trying to control or have a soft landing towards the economy. You all, I talk about the housing market, I talk about home prices, inflation, mortgage rates, and all that jazz. If you all appreciate this type of video, please let me know down below and subscribe to this channel. All right, so median home sale price is just down 0.9% year over year. So this is the smallest decline in nearly 4 months due to, of course, a lack of homes for sale with a mismatch between supply and demand. New listings are down 27% from a year ago and pending sales are down 15%. So we actually seen home prices go up a little bit. Yes, year over year, comparing June 2023 to June 2022, yes, home prices are down, but it's not down to the point where it actually makes sense for home buyers to go out there and try to find an affordable deal. And this data is coming actually from the S&P Case-Shiller U.S. National Home Price Index. So this is probably the best measure, the best index for home prices. And so right here, we have home prices, the home price index being at 301.04. And if you compare that to April of 2022, that was 301.77. So it's a slight decrease compared to last year, which is good, but we need a steeper discount. For example, if you look at March of 2023, it was 297. March of, it was 295, so it was still higher. Let's see, it is down for the first time according to the S&P, because 293, compare that to 295, so that was lower by 2 points. Actually, this was higher. March 2023 was higher compared to March of 2022. But it's good that we're finally seeing some downtime, some downturn happening in the economy, right? April 301.77, April 301.04. So for the first time, the S&P Case-Shiller U.S. National Price Index is showing a decline in home prices, which is great news. We've been seeing home price declines year over year over all sectors, but since they do more in-depth studies on the data, they take a little bit longer to release data. And so it's July and they're releasing this information about the month of April. They released it at the end of June. They're a good 2-3 months out of the way. But let's go back to Redfin. So Redfin inventory is falling because of high mortgage rates, with homeowners staying put to hang onto their low rates. And of course, if you're a seller and you have low rates, why would you go out and try to buy a house with higher interest rates? And plus, on top of that, there's a lower amount of buyers looking to buy a house because of higher interest rates. So it doesn't make sense for a lot of people to put their house on the market. Some leading indicators of home buying activities. We looked at the daily average 30-year fixed mortgage rate was 6.9% on June 28, down from a half-year high of 7.14 a month earlier. So yeah, interest rates really did go over 7% a month earlier, which is crazy. And so with that, mortgage applications did rise 3% from a week earlier. On top of just demand, I like this stat right here. Google searches for home for sales were up 5% from a month earlier during the week ending June 24th and down about 9% from a year earlier. So the demand is still relatively there. Yes, it's down down 9% year over year, but it being up 5% shows that people are definitely looking for houses, just not at the same rate as they did last year. Some interesting data I want to talk about is just the biggest drops in home sale prices. Austin, Texas, Las Vegas, Detroit, Oakland, and Phoenix. Sale price increase: Providence, Rhode Island, Milwaukee, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Cincinnati. I feel like these cities are on the list every single month. And so, of course, in these areas, there's usually a lower cost of living or maybe a tax advantage state like Florida. And so there's just different reasons why prices may increase. And plus, people are moving there, especially Florida, warmer climate. And then the Midwest, it's just lower cost of living. And then Rhode Island, nature, maybe it is a lower cost of living, but you still get that East Coast feel. So you don't have to be in New York, but you can be in Rhode Island. All right, so next thing is that we're just going to look over the median sale price year over year. So according to this data, we're at around 382. And if you see this red line, we were right there. And so we reached our peak probably a week earlier and we started going down. But 2023 looks like it's continuing that upward trend. So hopefully we see some price decrease happening soon in the market. Medium asking price is over 0.3%. Wow. So this is actually higher than it was last year. And another thing that I read on another stat is that listing prices are finally catching up to sale price, meaning the price that you list your house at is becoming equal to the actual sale price, because over the past couple of months this year, people have been able to buy houses under listing. And so now sellers are becoming more aware of that and they're listing their houses accordingly to what's actually being sold in their area. And that's because more stats are out and realtors are looking at the different sold data around the area and they're like, okay, this home actually sold less than listing. Let's just list it at this. And so you're seeing more of that. And so with that, of course, people are still paying a little bit extra for asking price, especially for properties that are hot in demand, new constructions, and things of that nature. Home buyer housing payments. So they're up 8.5%, which is ridiculous. And we're well over $2,500 for your monthly payment. Earlier this year, we were at $2,250. Compare that to 2022, you're under $1,700. If only we can go back to these prices. I'm not sure we will ever get back to those prices unless we actually have a legitimate crash in the housing market. And so I believe there will be some sort of crash. I don't know how much the Fed is going to control it, but what goes around comes around, right? This is just cycle. Like, you're bound to break, right? You can't keep on controlling inflation or controlling prices this long. Like, something will break. There's always leaks happening. The bubble will burst on its own. And so I feel like if the Fed, really wants to tame inflation, they got to be aggressive with these Fed hikes. Let me know if you all agree with that, the Fed being more aggressive with Fed hikes. And then, pending sales are down 15% because inventory levels are low. New listings, this is crazy. They're down 27% year over year. Active listings are down 11%. So for a while, they were actually above 2022 levels. And this was great because we had more inventory. Home prices were finally adjusting to the mortgage rates. But something happened during the summer where people just sat on their houses and didn't want to buy houses. And so this went down. And so new listings are down 27%, and that will catch up to active listings, right? So the more new listing homes go down, active listings will go down. That's something to consider. 2.6 months of supply available on the market. We're actually up 0.3%, it seems like, which is good. But again, we still have inventory levels to consider. 32% of pending sales under contract within 2 weeks. This is still relatively fast, but it is lower than the previous 2 years, which is great news. Home sold in a medium of 27 days. It's 7 days before it was selling for way less than 27 days. It went under 20 days in 2022. People were wild in 2022. I actually bought my investment property at, you could consider, the worst time. Home prices were still high. The Fed started increasing the rates. There were things like this where houses were being snatched up in like a week or less. The thing is, though, I still found a deal. I still negotiated a deal, and the numbers worked for me, so I still moved on that deal. And so that's my point to you all. If you find a deal that works within your budget, the numbers make sense and everything like that, still go forward with that deal. Don't try to time the market. Don't try, if you find something that you like, it's not going to break the bank. move on it. All right, you all, let me know your thoughts on the housing market. Do you think home prices will fall even greater these next couple of months? I believe that we have probably reached the peak of the housing market season as it pertains to home prices, because usually May, June is when home prices peak, and we saw that with just historic data. Maybe July they may peak again, but usually once July hits, people are getting ready for school, for different travel plans in August, and that's when home prices start to go down. So hopefully we don't see a rise in July. We may see one only because of inventory levels, but I do believe we'll see a decent discount later this year. Make sure you all subscribe, and I'll talk to you all later.